Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a full face of e.l.f. makeup. A lot of these are older products, but I did pick up a handful of new things from my drugstore recently. They had restocked the e.l.f. section with a couple of new goodies, including some brushes. We're doing a full face of e.l.f. brushes as well, so this one's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, who doesn't love e.l.f. makeup? I feel like it's everyone's favorite drugstore makeup brand. This will be the look that we are creating today. Before we get into that though, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to my channel and make sure that your notifications are turned on. With that said, let's get right to it. Okay, let's get started. So we'll go through the new items that I picked up. We'll kind of go through them as I get to them, but we're going to start off with some old staples. First off, my e.l.f. Halo Glow. We'll use this as my primer today. I'm just going to apply this with my hands, just mostly on my cheeks and then kind of spread the rest all over. Okay, let's move on to the foundation. So I don't have a new foundation. We're going to use the Soft Glam foundation again, but I do have a new foundation brush. So I picked up these two brushes, the Ultimate Blending and the Buffing Foundation Brush. I think I have owned the Ultimate Blending before. I don't know why I got rid of it. Probably what happened is as my new brushes came in and it kind of made it to my secondary brush set. Those ones I let people pick through sometimes. I'm sure it ended up with someone that would have used it a lot more than me, but I think it's helpful to have brush alternatives for you guys. And this is one that does remind me of some of my favorite foundation brushes, like the Persona one or the IT Cosmetics one. And this is the Ultimate Blending, not their actual buffing foundation brush. I don't think I've tried this one before. Very similar. It looks a little bit rounder and smaller. So this one actually is reminding me more of my IT Cosmetics one. I will use this for my foundation today, and then we're going to use the Ultimate Blending for the cream bronzer that we'll be putting on today. All right, so I've got my Soft Glam foundation here. I've got shades number 22 and 30. I'm going to go 2 parts number 22, 1 part 30. This foundation is a little yellow on me. I need to try a different shade and different undertone and see if I like it a little bit better that way. I don't dislike this foundation. I just feel like for how much other people have been raving about it, I just think it's kind of okay. So there we have it on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna mix those two shades together in my brush and just start tapping, starting on my kind of cheeks and cheekbones. Yeah, look how yellow this foundation is. Once I have it blended in, it's not that big of a deal. I do have a little bit more of a warm yellow undertone in my skin, so as long as it's not too high of a coverage, I can get away with it, but probably should try something more neutral. In fact, I should have thought about that while I was looking through my drugstore e.l.f. section today. They finally had the Soft Glam foundation there. They hadn't had it for a while. I pretty much blended that in and I'm still getting that strong yellow cast, which is just a little bit too much for my skin, too strong for me. Now I'm going to take a sponge, a dampened sponge, and just kind of go around the edges. This is just a Wet n Wild sponge. I thought about buying an e.l.f. sponge today, but then I thought to myself, I had their elongated concealer sponge and I can't find it anywhere. I love that sponge. I don't use it all the time because I've really been into my brush for concealer lately, but that's why I didn't pick up a sponge, and now I'm cheating by using this. I wanted to really go all e.l.f. today. Oh well, hopefully you guys can forgive me. Okay, let's move on to concealer. I'm gonna use my Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'm gonna mix 2 shades together, Medium Sand and Fair Warm. Kind of equal parts, both shades. I was really looking forward to using that sponge again because I'd kind of forgotten about it. So I'm just kind of tapping this on, giving it like a partial blend with my finger, and then we'll go in with the, probably just with that brush and kind of finish tapping it out. Back to that brush. By the way, I didn't mention this brush was $6, which is a really good price for a decent brush. It's been a while since I've owned this brush, but if I remember correctly, at least the one that I owned several years ago, this was probably like 5 years ago that I first tried out this brush, it seemed to wash up pretty well, like it didn't shed or anything like that. Okay, everything looks blended. I'm gonna wipe that off with a little cotton pad just so I don't make a mess. And then I have an e.l.f. powder. This one is older. This is their Halo Glow powder, and I believe it's in different packaging now. Hopefully the formula hasn't changed, but mine is in the shade Light. I'm just gonna use a large powder brush. Oh goodness, that's way too much, yeah. I don't need that much powder. And start on my eyelids, then my forehead and between my brows. Okay. Before we move on to the cheeks, I wanna do my brows first. Let's start out with this. You guys have seen this before. This is just their Shape and Stay. I'm just gonna throw a little bit of this into my brows. And then I have a new Slim Brow Pencil, which I have owned before, but it's been a while. This is just their Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. I have the shade Neutral Brown. So I'm gonna open that up and we're gonna brush out my brows. brush that wax through just to get my brows upright. And we'll fill them in. If I remember right, the one that I had before, I like this pencil. I think it's really nice. But I think mine broke, or like the spoolie fell off or something. Which is not that uncommon, honestly. When you spend under $10 for a brow pencil, it's not that uncommon to either have like a crack in the lid or the spoolie that falls off. Okay, and then I also picked up their soap brow. I'm all about the soap brows lately, and I have not tried e.l.f. yet. I was about to get a new brow lift because I do like that product. I tossed mine because it kind of dried out and got really murky and milky after a couple of years, but I thought we'd try this one out today. So I'm assuming that this is just like any other soap brow. It's kind of just a solid, semi-clear block of soap, and we'll just wet a spoolie and then apply that. I'm just gonna use this one that came with my Socko. Okay, so I've got a damp spoolie here. We're just gonna lightly rub it on the top of the soap, kind of work it into the brush, and then just brush that through my brows. I think I've said this before, but if you've tried the brow soap before and just not been on board, there is a bit of a learning curve to it. The product can't be too wet or too dry. You have to kind of get it the right consistency, and if you do that, it's really, really nice. All right, brows are done. Let's move on to the cheeks. So we're just gonna use my putty bronzer today. I have had this for a very, very long time, but we're going to try and use it with the Ultimate Blending Brush. This one is a little bit larger than my product. Actually, I think that foundation brush might have been even nicer than, at least size-wise, than this one. That is my one complaint. I love the putty bronzer. I wish it was just a little bit wider, because there are some brushes that are very difficult to get inside of here. Most of the ones I have that I like to use for a cream bronzer work. By the way, the one I have is in Tan Lines, which is a great shade. So I just kind of worked quite a bit onto my brush and then kind of evened it out on the back of my hand and then went onto my cheeks. I still think it's a little bigger than what I like. This is probably my favorite brush for cream bronzer, which you'll see is quite a bit smaller. I also really like my Sydney Grace brush, which is still just a little bit smaller. It's round. I don't know why it's like looking pinched. Both of these are actually round, but it is still just a little bit smaller than this one, but it'll definitely work. And one thing that I don't have from e.l.f., and they didn't have anything available at my store that I hadn't already bought and decluttered, is a highlighter. I don't know, maybe highlighters, powder highlighters are kind of 2019, 2020 and on the outs. Now I feel like it's all about the liquid glow. Some of us still like the old-fashioned powder highlighter. Okay, there we go for now. Let's move on to liquid blush. I have my liquid blush here from e.l.f. I do love these. This one is my favorite. It is in the shade, I think it's Soft Nude. No, not even close. Suave Mauve, that's right. This one is Suave Mauve. It's a little bit of a deeper shade. It's a perfect shade for the fall. So we're gonna tap just a tiny bit of this on the back of my hand. And then let's go, I'm gonna wipe off that foundation brush, which means I won't be able to use it later to like blend things, but that's okay. I think we'll be okay. I'm gonna wipe it off. I'm gonna take just the tip of that foundation brush because it's a little bit more round at the top. I think this will work fine. And we're going to tap the color just into the top of that brush and use the buffing foundation brush to apply this. Probably should have gotten a smaller or a more specific like blush brush or duo fiber brush, but I'm sure this will work fine. Very pretty. Okay, for highlighter, let's hold off on highlighter because I haven't decided if I want to just go in with a little bit of my Halo Glow or if maybe something in the eyeshadow palette that I picked up can work as a highlighter. But we will see when we try that. Let's do that now. I do have a new set of brushes. These were $12, this set. It includes 5 brushes, 3 eye brushes, like blending brushes, and these 2 kind of detail liner brushes right here, these little ones. It's been a while since I have used an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, but I thought these ones were very cute. They're nice and silver. Honestly, the top of them, you just never know. And being in the package, like here's the blending brush right here. I probably should have gotten these out I picked them up yesterday or the day before. I probably should have gotten them out right away and kind of let them sit outside of the packaging because this round blending brush you can see is a little bit squished. It'll probably still work fine. I like the shape of this though. This is just what I like in a blending brush. If I had to pick one blending brush, it would be something pretty large and kind of long like this. Then you also get kind of like a more like flat top pinched brush like this that's nice and fluffy, more of a C-shaped kind of dense brush. I love these for the lower lash line or like working darker shades into the crease, and then 2 detail brushes. This one would be perfect for some inner corner work. You could use it for concealer, and then a angled liner brush. I always look for my angled liner brushes how thin they are. This one looks pretty thin. That's actually pretty impressive. So I don't use these very often. Today we'll kind of just concentrate on this for the eyeshadow. So I picked up their Perfect 10 eyeshadow palette in Everyday Smoky. I know these have been around for a while. I've never owned this specific one, and I think there's been a couple different renditions of these over the years. So we'll give this one a try. I thought about pulling out my good old Cream and Sugar palette. It's been a while since I've used that little $3 quad. Here is the palette. I will insert a close-up for you guys right here of the palette and of the swatches on my arm. It totally is giving me like good old Urban Decay Naked palette vibes. The only thing I'm seeing in here right off the bat is it doesn't look like there's a good transition shade in here. Like all of these matte shades are pretty dark and pretty cool toned, which I don't love. So I kind of am wondering where I should start. I guess we'll start with this shade right here. It's, I don't know, it looks very dark and gray, but that's really all I have. I don't have a powder bronzer. So we're gonna make it work somehow. So I'm just gonna use a very light amount of that. I'm gonna start at the lash line to get most of the pigment off, and then just slowly work like a C shape into my crease. It's gonna be a very cool toned look. I don't know why I didn't, I mean, I knew it was like not warm, but I was thinking it was more neutral. I can't remember what other ones they had there. I know they had an all matte one, and I'm pretty sure I've owned that one before, a previous rendition of it. That's very gray. I don't mind a cooler tone look or shadow, but I always love to start out with something a little bit warm. I feel like having a little bit of warmth in your crease. Maybe it's just a habit thing for me. It's just kind of what I always do. So having a gray as my starting shade is kind of throwing me off. I'm like nervous that this look is gonna turn out way outside of my comfort zone, but okay, I'm gonna take that C-shaped brush. We're gonna use that same shade just on the very tip and run this along the lower lash line just real lightly. It's like almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon right now. The sun is literally setting. There is no natural light in here whatsoever. I meant to film this video in the morning, because if I catch early enough in the morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning filming time, I do get some really pretty natural light in here, but it's for like an hour and it's gone very quickly, and it's rare that I'm ready to film by 8 o'clock in the morning, especially on a Saturday morning. Saturday is cleaning day at our house, and so if I want my kids to clean and do their chores, I kind of have to be up there cracking down and making sure they get out of bed and get busy. Okay, we're gonna go with this brown next and start to kind of smoke things out a little bit with that brown. I'm hoping this will kind of like add a little bit of, not really warmth, but color, more than just like gray. Back to that larger blending brush. I'm just gonna work this starting at the lash line. Kind of the same thing I did before. Just not pressing as hard or moving as wide. By the way, this palette was $10, which quality-wise, it's fine. Okay, stop complaining about all the gray in this palette, Mandy. You picked it out. Maybe their lighting was like deceivingly warm or something, because I'm like, why did I pick this palette? I should have gone with the rosy colored one. I know I like rose colors. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that C-shaped brush, and we're gonna dip into that same dark brown shade. And again, run this under the lower lash line, but keeping this just right at the outer corner. Take my little blending sponge and just lightly go, not too close to that shadow, just to make sure I didn't get anything straying down too far. Kind of clean up that edge a little bit. All right, now let's jump over to a couple of the shimmers. We're gonna start with a kind of a mid-tone shimmer. Let's go with this brown one. We're gonna pop that in the outer half of the lid, on the outer half of the lid, just with my finger. Really nice basic shimmer formula. Okay, and now, actually before I dip into, I'm not sure, which, probably this shade, I wanna apply a little bit of this white to my inner lid. We're gonna use that little flat detail brush. Pop a little bit of that on the inner part of my lid, kind of that inner corner. And then we're gonna kind of overlap some of this with that other shade. I just want to brighten it up first. This is a very blue-based white. Has a bit of reflect in it that is kind of, I don't know that I'd say it's iridescent, but it has like a subtle iridescent reflect to it that is a little bit cool and blue. Just not my favorite. I usually like them a little bit warmer, but that's all right. We're gonna dip into this shade now, which is kind of it's like a cool shell pink, maybe almost lavender. We'll just go all cool today. We could, this shade right here, that one's a little chalky, actually. That shade feels a little chalky and isn't as shimmery as the one next to it. This one's beautiful. I really like this shade. Nice and bright and shimmery. If you don't like it this intense, you could use a fluffy blending brush and just get a light wash of shimmer. In fact, I'm gonna go back to that blending brush. We're gonna wipe it off and I'm gonna run it over the inner part of that lid just to kind of blend all those shimmer shades together. Very pretty, very cool toned. More cool toned than I typically like. I should probably put my mascara on before I officially finish off the whole look. I don't have an actual liner today, so we are going to use just this little slim angled brush and this black shadow right here. I'm actually gonna mix the black and the dark charcoal together. And we're going to just do a little wing here on the outer lash line. Okay, I've got two mascaras from e.l.f. that I really like. I have the Lash It Loud and the Lash and Roll. Let's use the Lash and Roll today. I'm gonna apply a couple coats of this, then we'll come back and I have a new product that we're gonna try out for the lips. All right, eyes are all finished. I do wanna try and find some highlighter, so I don't know, guys. I would use the Halo Glow as a highlighter. I have a patch right here of really like bad hyperpigmentation that my foundation covers up pretty well, but if I put anything liquid on top of that, it's going to eat away at my foundation and that hyperpigmentation will peek back through. I was thinking that we would maybe try the palette, but this shade is too chalky and I'm just afraid this white is too iridescent. But let's try just a tiny bit of the white and see if I can get it to not look like a disco ball. I'm gonna take my highlighter brush, I'm just gonna dip it into a little bit of that white shade and kind of tap some of it on the back of my hand. Oh gosh, I might regret this, but it's Saturday afternoon. I have no plans to go anywhere. In fact, I'll probably be washing this makeup off in a couple of hours, so if I'm ever gonna try a whitish blue highlighter, now's the time to do it. Okay, that's actually not that bad. It would not be my highlighter of choice, but in a pinch, rather than wearing no highlighter at all, which is not an option for me. Okay, now let's move on to the lips. So, big disclaimer, first of all. They had some lip liners there. I've tried out their lip liner before. I knew that I had one. I decluttered it instantly because I did not like the e.l.f. lip liner. So I came home and I pulled it out of my declutter bin because nobody has picked this yet out of my declutter bin. So we're going to use it today because we are technically doing all e.l.f., but I do not like this lip liner. It is far too creamy, feathers far too much. It's not a bad shade. This one is... Okay, this doesn't even say the name of the shade on the packaging. It's just a light pink. It just says, oh, it's on the top of the lid in the tiniest writing I've ever seen. Holy smokes, e.l.f. Okay, this is in, even with the glasses, pinky swear. So we're gonna apply a little bit of lip liner first, because I always do lip liner. And the product that we're using today is like a combo product. It's a 3-in-1 lip plumper gloss and balm. It's their Pout Cloud Lip Plumping Pen. This should be fun. But I can't rely on just a lip balm alone. Gotta put just a little bit of lip liner, at least under my lower lip. It just helps so much. Even though I know I don't really like this lip liner, which is unfortunate because I do like the color. This is where it gives me trouble. I have the vertical lines in my lips on the top. Liner is too creamy. It just makes a mess up there, so a little bit of definition. Okay, now let's try out the 3-in-1 Cloud Pout. I want to say Cloud Pout. Is that Wet n Wild that I'm thinking of? The Wet n Wild Cloud Pout lip products. So here's what it looks like. Oh, fun. So it is just like a traditional lip balm, but rather than like a twist up, it's like a clicker. I feel like that's a packaging malfunction just waiting to happen. It is kind of fun though. Makes me feel like I'm in school. Let's swatch it on the back of my hand first. Ooh, oh my gosh, that's nice. Very soft. I mean, this like made a big mess when I pushed down on it, so you don't need to push very hard, but interesting. Okay, so it's like in the form, it comes out looking like it's a solid balm, but it's very soft. I mean, it's almost like it's very liquidy and soft. I almost feel like this would be better off in a squeezy tube. Has a bit of a mint to it, I'm assuming, because it's a plumper. You either get mint or cinnamon. This is nice. You do not need very much. This is a very thick product. The packaging is interesting. I'll have to let you know about that because I feel like it's like a real messy disaster waiting to happen, but the product itself, very shiny, very, very pretty. I love that. Okay, one more thing. I almost forgot about this one. I did pick up their Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. I think this was one of the most expensive things that I got. Okay, $10. It was the same price as the eyeshadow palette. I think that's kind of high for a setting spray from e.l.f. I don't know. I just got my nails done, so they, by the way, aren't they so pretty? They did such a good job. Ugh, I'm so addicted to the gel. It's not gel, it's the filler gel nail application. It lasts forever. Your nails never, ever, ever chip, and I'm very rough on my fingernails. These are my real nails with just a coating of fake nail on top. Honestly, if you haven't tried it, it's kind of expensive, but it is like the best thing. Okay, so here is the bottle right here. Let's give it a little prime. Let's prime the pump. Ooh, that's a nice little mist. It smells pretty nice. It's not very strongly scented, which probably most people will love. I actually like my, it's really fine. I almost don't know where it's going. It's so fine. Okay, I will keep you posted on that. We will see. I know this one's supposed to be more dewy, but it's also supposed to be like a long wearing setting spray. We'll see. I don't have the highest hopes for this. I mean, I'm very picky with my setting sprays. The only ones that I've really found like really lock your makeup down and I feel like make a difference are the Urban Decay and the Charlotte Tilbury one. Other than that, I feel like it's more of just like a pleasant experience, like of hydration for your skin. And here we are, you guys. This is the entire finished look. Let's talk about the new stuff that I tried. Probably the thing I'm the most impressed about of everything new that I tried today was the lip product. This is incredible. It was not what I was expecting it to be. Be careful with this. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I clicked it up so there was a little bit of product showing like at the top, and the moment I pushed it onto my lips, it kind of just like spread out like it was more of a liquid than a solid. So I imagine this is gonna get pretty messy, but it's beautiful on the lips. It's very comfortable. It has a nice soft minty plumping sensation that's not overly strong. Very natural, good amount of color. It sits nice on your lips, on the lines in your lips. You know how some products just don't make your lips, if you have some lines, don't make them look very good. This is very, very like an easy to wear kind of pretty, could throw in your bag. The only thing that makes me nervous about throwing this in my bag is if it gets messy underneath the lid, but time will tell. I'll let you guys know on that later. Probably second to that, or maybe the brushes. I actually am very impressed with the eye brushes that I tried out. Particularly this blending brush. This is a really good shaped blending brush. I wish this one was a little bit bigger, the detail brush. It was a little bit too small to really do work on like, I mean, you could do it like right on your tear duct, but if you want to do any lid work, it's just too small for that. And they're very cute and they feel pretty good quality. Also, the two face brushes I think work really well. We'll see how these wash up, but I really loved especially the foundation one. It reminds me a ton of my IT Cosmetics or my Persona brush. The eyeshadow palette is probably the thing I'm the most like, not that excited about. I mean, I do like this eye look. It's just more cool tone than I wanted. And I like something, if I'm doing the cool tones, I want at least something that's a little more neutral or even warm to start out with or to throw into my crease. This one is just all cool, but if you like that, I think you'll probably like it. The quality was really nice. And even the brow soap was pretty good. It's pretty basic. I mean, I think I paid $6 for this one. You can get the Sako one that I use a lot in the little tin is like $3, $4 from Amazon. So they're about the same. But if you happen to be in Walmart or Walgreens or CVS and you see this and you wanted to try out a soap product, I think it's really nice. You will need a spoolie though, so make sure you have a spoolie at home. I'll keep you posted on the setting spray. I liked the mister. I think it's a little hard to press. I have to really push down hard and it like hurts my finger. You like spray paint? Have you ever like done spray paint and you're like holding the thing down, your finger starts to fall asleep? It kind of feels like that. But that is going to do it for today for my full face of e.l.f. makeup. Let me know if there are any newer products from e.l.f. that you guys have tried out that you haven't seen me use. Very likely if I didn't try it out today, it's older or it's something I really didn't like. It's been a while since I've tried out a lot of newer e.l.f. makeup. I know they have the new single shadows that I've seen a couple people talk about. I thought about picking those up, but I haven't seen them online from Ulta yet, and they haven't showed up in my drugstore yet, so I'll probably wait for those. But let me know if you guys have tried them, if you like them. They do say they're glitter toppers. You know I love a good glitter topper, so I'm hoping e.l.f. does those right. But that's gonna do it for this video today. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for watching. Let me give you one last reminder to subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. I like my whole hair. My hair's going through like an identity crisis. There's parts that are going more curly and then parts that are like not wanting to be curly anymore, and I just can't get them to get along. So my lip product. So ungraceful. The things that I cut out of these videos, you guys.